Here in Altadena, if you've never been there, right now is the time to go. They're closed on Wednesdays and Thursdays, right? Okay?
Don't come Easter Sunday, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. Okay, but now it's just rainbows and rainbows of colors, outstanding. I mean, look at this stuff. I mean, there's so many colors and so many. Yeah, I'll let Tom do this. So we'll bring up Tom NUCCIO over here.
Thank you.
How long you been there, Tom? How long you been there? The family business.
The family business, my dad and uncle started the business in 1935 in their backyard in Alhambra. And they made my grandmother, you think of my grandmother 7 times, made her move a clothesline 3 times, and her vegetable garden twice, and her iris bed a couple times. So my grandfather figured they needed a bigger place in their backyard. So he located this, he found this empty piece of ground up in Altadena, and he moved up there late 1946. Anyway, we thank you for having me tonight. I love bonsai. I have no patience to do it myself. And so I'm not that knowledgeable on bonsai, but when people come in asking about plants for bonsai, I show them certain things that I think they like, and I hope I bring some stuff that might be suitable for what you guys like too. You know, one of the things on the azaleas at least that drives bonsai guys nuts. We don't leave you guys a good stem because we're always pruning stuff to make it nice and bushy. You don't leave that nice stem. I happen to find something that had a good stem tonight, so. But anyway, let's talk about azaleas first. The 2 types you see a lot, in my experience, in bonsai, because they come from Japan. You see kurumi azaleas, and they're from, the original kurumis are from Kyushu, Kurumi, Japan. That's where they get their name. They tend to have very small flowers. They tend to be massive spring bloom, wonderful azaleas. There are a few. We will maybe about 2 or 3 kurumis that have a pretty long bloom. There's one called Hino Crimson. I don't have an example tonight. It's a nice red, nice compact plant, and we'll start flowering in the fall. There are a few flowers, and they just don't stop. They go all the way until springtime. This one here is called Ruby Glow.
Here's a Hino Crimson.
Ah, good. Nice plant, and it just got through blooming, right?
It was red this month.
Yeah, it's not quite as dark as this. The trade-off is this is one shot, boom, all at once. And most kurumis tend to be just spring azaleas, just one big flush of color, but they're just magnificent. Both the Hino Crimson and the Ruby Glow can take full sun. I kind of like them with a lot of sun, simply because when it gets cold, our fall is not October, November. Our fall is December, January, when all the trees start to return color. Well, these guys in the full sun will turn real bronzy. They'll get almost black maroon. And it's a seasonal foliage change. Hino Crimson will get dark also, not as dark, but it'll bronze up also. But this one's rather upright. Hino Crimson is rather roundish growth pattern. But anyway, kurumi azaleas are wonderful. They come in, all the colors you can want. But anyway, Ruby Glow. And then this one here is one of our hybrids. We call this Plum Purdy. And it's real tight, compact plant. Almost, I won't call it dwarf, but very, very tight and compact. Hino Crimson. Then, did I bring the flower I meant to? Yeah, I got it, good. This one is called Coral Bells. The Japanese name of this one is Kiri. Years ago, we had a chance to go to Japan to the Kurumi Azalea Festival. They were celebrating the 100th anniversary of the city of Kurumi as an incorporated city. Probably 2,000 years old, but as an incorporated city, they had a big azalea festival. We were a little late. When we got to the festival, we were a little late for the peak bloom at the festival itself. I mean, there was flowers, but you could tell we were past the peak. There was an azalea park outside the city, high in elevation, and they must have designed this park some 30 years prior, and they must have just jammed the azaleas this close together, but there was a circle of 8 by 8, 8 foot tall, all one color, all pink, all red, all white, and you couldn't see the leaf. They're all colorful folds, but with flowers rather. This was one of them, Kiri, which is a big ball of pink. I want to pass this around because this has an unusual flower form. It's single is what most of the kurumis are, just 5 petals. This is what they call hose in hose. And a hose in hose is a very simple form of double. It's a single stuck inside a single. Pull it apart, there's a single, no. You get the idea, right? So we try to pass these around here. You can work on it. Here we go. Yeah, it's a flower form, it's kind of the usual flower form. But anyway, coral bells, I mentioned there's about 2 or 3 varieties of lilies that are long blooming. And coral bells is one of the long blooming lilies. Starting in the fall, and just dribble flowers off all the way till springtime. Most lilies tend to stay compact, and you know, I think they would be well suited for bonsai. And the fact that they're small flowers, the flowers are in proportion to the plant. I brought a couple of these down also. We haven't done much with these. These are called Unzen azaleas from the Mount Unzen area. Probably wild forms or selected cultivars of the wild forms. The species involved is Rhododendron cusianum. And this is all your wild azaleas botanically. All azaleas botanically are rhododendrons. Not all rhododendrons are azaleas. So azaleas are part of the rhodi family. All the wild forms have rhododendron names on them. So Rhododendron cusianum is probably the parent of all the kurumis and stuff. But these guys are probably more closely related to the wild form. This is called Fusan Mutsuki, tiny flowers. And this is Unzen Tsutsuji, UNZEN, Tsutsuji's TSUJ. I think it means Italian Japanese, Tsutsuji. They are semi-deciduous. They'll lose everything but the tip leaves in the wintertime. Oh my God, they're dying. They're not dying. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. But they have a heavier than normal leaf crop. They go stark naked and just keep the very tip leaves. On this tour to Japan, we took to see this festival in Kurumi. We were driven up to a mountain area, top, and to see the wild Rhododendron cusianums, to see the wild cusianums. And my brother, his wife, my cousin and his wife, they got out of the taxi cab, and we go, where's this? The cab driver goes, right there. Well, these things, real alpine area. It was high elevation, really cold. There was an extinct volcano, and these plants were this tall, and they weren't blooming. Obviously, I think we would have recognized them, but they weren't blooming, but only this tall. They had no leaves except the very tip leaves, and they're kind of a rusty maroonish brown. They weren't very good looking plants, and you can see though at the tip of every little tip there was a bud. We were about 3 weeks short. I think about 3 weeks we had a carpet of color going up this volcano. That's incredible. But anyway, we have a few of these in propagation. My cousin and brother aren't crazy about these. I love these things. But they're kind of funny culture. When they're growing, they'll know in the wintertime, they kind of shut down. And they stay wet longer than normal because they just shut down because they drop all the leaves and just keep a couple of tip leaves. But I assume they're very cold hardy because of where they come from. But anyway, these are the forerunners of the Kurumi azaleas. So anyway, they're just tiny flowers, wonderful. There's pinks and whites. What was so funny, during the Kurumi festival, a lot of the places, especially on temples, they would sell these azaleas for sale. And you could ask, hey, well, it's a nice azalea. What's in it? A purple azalea. Well, I can see it's purple azalea. What's in it? So a lot of these things did have names on them, and we brought a few back, and we just labeled them K1, K2 for Kurumi, for out of the Kyushu. We went with a friend of ours, Kimura, all these K's. So anyway, K number 6, K8 is just dynamite. It's a magenta, tiny flower, magenta red, deep pink, really wonderful. And so hopefully we'll get that into production and stuff. But anyway, the ones in this kind
Can you pass those around, Tom?
Oh, I'm sorry, sure can't.
What's that pink one, the lighter pink?
The lighter pink one is Unzen Tsutsuji. UNZEN, Tsutsuji's TSU.
Really small leaves on it. It's really
Unzen
nice.
Tsutsuji. They call it, they also sometimes call it the thyme, THYME, thyme azalea.
Oh.
It's tiny leaves like thyme, yeah. Okay. Did I bring in, oh, this one here, the other azaleas that are used in Japan a lot, besides the kurumis for bonsai, are satsukis, or satsuki azaleas. It means fifth month, so April, May, June, that's when they bloom. Some are early, but the early ones are, what's nice about the satsuki azaleas, they bloom when most of our other azaleas are just about had it. So we're just thinking about blooming on the satsuki. When most of these are all through blooming, it comes a whole other batch of azaleas. Anyway, this one here, I think, I'm not positive, I think this is a hybrid between a satsuki and a kurumi azalea. And this is called mangetsu. Really pretty flower, small flower, and small leaf, and but it's just thinking about blooming. So very, very late.
Is that shade or full sun?
Yeah, one year we had our satsukis, a lot of sun. We had we had some big sasanka and kind of spread them around to break it up a little bit. Made them more sun than they should have been in, and they took it, and you could tell they weren't thrilled about being out. So I'm gonna say their sun. They're not, we actually get some hot sun for part of the day, but I wouldn't put them full, I wouldn't grow them like a full sun is got. Having said that, let's see. This one here is a kurumi, this is a kurumi, no, it's a satsuki, this is a satsuki hybrid that we've done. You see, I'm trying to do the pairing much on this. Yeah, it was a Belgian hybrid, which is a nice double flower, and a satsuki. And we had several things come out of it, but this we call Lucky Charm. And unlike most, one of the pairs was a Belgian long blooming, one of them was a Satsuki late blooming, and this is long blooming. It hits its peak a little bit before most Satsukis, but it's later than most of the standard azaleas. The Lucky Charm of this one you can grow in full sun. And someone said earlier, how do you know if you have a sun azalea? You put it in the sun if it doesn't burn. This one's compact, but very long blooms, so Lucky Charm.
Tom, which one grows really well in like hot weather conditions? The Santa Ana, it's tolerant to Santa Ana winds.
Yeah, they'll take it. Of course, half the plants are laying down, and they're saying when they get knocked over and stuff. But they can take it. The thing is, that you dry out in a way. You gotta make sure you're watered.
Okay.
But if it's a sun azalea, they can tolerate it. And it was kind of funny that heat wave, that horrible heat wave we had in July. I mean, everything burned. I thought our camellias would fare better than the azaleas, but the azaleas fared better than the camellias. Just what I thought was what I thought. I think the camellias had too much tender, lush growth. We had a real cool May and June and overnight without any transition. The problem with that heat wave, besides being hotter than normal, we had no transition. We were cooler than normal before. I mean, just a bad combination. But we fared better on the azaleas than we did on the camellias. Okay.
Is that similar to the Sakazuki?
This one is, very similar to Osakazuki is one of the older varieties. I would say Osakazuki blooms a little bit later. We've tried that one in the sun, and we've gotten away with Osakazuki in the full sun. A little bit darker color, it's still a pink, but they're very similar to Osakazuki. I have to stop and think, I was just getting out, we just finished up on camellias, and we're going to spring azaleas, and we're not quite into Satsukis, and I have to rethink Satsukis every year, There's about 5 words that are used on about 90% of Satsukis, Suki, Homari, Hikari, and Kagami, and then if you take a word from column 1 like a Yama, put a no in between and put a Kagami, you may be making up a variety that doesn't exist. So I have to remember the names all the time. Oh, this one here, Satsuki, Mizo no Yama, Mizo Ho no Kagami, Mizo Ho no Kagami. A lot of Satsukis are multicolored, and it's kind of fun because they'll throw different, like here, you throw different branches of different colors. This one's on the early side. It's late for an azalea, but it's early for a Satsuki. You'll get 3 colors. You get a pink, and this one's the pink form here. It's going to be pink with an edge on it. You get the darker form. In this case, the darker form is going to have a pale center. And you get the white, which will have stripes on it. And it took us forever to figure this out. If our cuttings come off of the branch that's the white with a stripe, that plant will give us the white with a stripe, it'll give us the pink, and it'll give us the dark color. comes off of the pink branch, we get the pink in the dark color, not the white with the stripe. If it comes off the dark branch, it just stays dark. It's not impossible or unheard of to revert back, but that's the tendency. And I don't know if they do this, I don't think they do this in Japan. We have our own code system. We call the white with the stripe number 1, we call the pink number 2, and we call the dark color number 3. So number 1 plant will give you 1, 2, and 3 flowers. Number 2 plant will give you 2 and 3, not number 1, and number 3 stays number 3. Like I said, it took us about 3 years to figure that out. So.
And they're all labeled like that?
Well, you know what? Once we see the white with the stripe, we know it's the number 1. Even if you don't have the number 2 on it or the number 3 on it, you're going to get it. If I see a young plant and there's all of a sudden I see number 2s and 3s on it, I know it's not a number 1. I'll label it. These are Hodokogan number 2. We'll actually label it that way. They're still nice. Some of the number 2s and 3s we actually grow on purpose. They're very pretty. Most of them we don't grow on purpose. We end up with them by accident, just because taking cuttings when they're not in bloom, you know. Kind of interesting too. A lot of the Satsuki, when it gets cold, will have a pretty good noticeable leaf drop. It's interesting that the branches that are white with the stripes will be yellow leaves with kind of orange stripes. The number 2 branch and the number 3 branch, they'll be orangey. The leaves will be orange instead of yellow on those. So even the foliage leaf drop is of a different color. So if you have any mixes when they're not in bloom, at least we can separate the number 1s from the 2s and 3s not in bloom, just because of that.
So Tom, how old is that plant?
Well, this plant here, these are young. These are going on their, let's see, the 1 year, 2nd year, 3rd year. They're starting their 3rd year. This is about no. They're starting their 2nd year. This is about 2-year-old, 1.5, almost. This will be their 2nd. Let's see, they'll put in cuttings. No, these are 2 years going on 3, and these are 3 years finishing up, going on to the third year. So these are a year's difference.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a year difference in a pot.
Yeah, we're selling these for $8. We're apologizing and selling these for $6 because they're kind of small right now. What's fun about Queens and Azaleas, by midsummer, their apologies will there'll be a nice full plant come say by the end of June, beginning of July. One I like a lot, this one here, another multicolored one here. This is called Camellia, and it's going to be multicolored, but you get the dark pink, you get a light pink and a white with a stripe. This one I like because it's just because the flower size and the foliage size are very compatible. I brought a flower of a Satsuki. It's a wonderful Satsuki. It's called Tom NUCCIO. But I think this may be a little disproportionate for bonsai. It'll be bigger than the plant. Yeah, I measured today. These were pushing 5 inches. These are the biggest flower we got. Wonderful garden variety. Makes a nice plant. Has the Satsukis. I don't know if they have this in Japan. When my dad bought these, imported these years ago, we had about some 300 varieties. We're still kind of sorting through them. Anyway, we knew they were going to be late blooming. We did not know that about a third of them give us consistent fall bloom. About say September, October, we get a good flush of color. Then they shut down to the bloom when they're supposed to. I don't know if in Japan they do that, or if they get too cold too soon. Colder than we do, because we have all these nice warm, short. Our falls are short sleeve weather, and but we get about a third of these. We do a nice secondary fall bloom. This one is a nice secondary fall bloom, and Tom had it on a mile winter. We'll throw a few flowers out all the way until it's major bloom. But neat azalea, I don't know if it's quite bonsai appropriate.
How big's the leaf?
It's a normal size leaf. I mean, where's the leaf here? It's not a tiny leaf.
Okay, so it's a big tree.
Yeah, they're bigger than that little thing over there.
Does it tolerate sun?
Yeah, well, they'll take some sun, but I wouldn't go this as a sun azalea. Like I say, we tried the Satsukis when you're in a lot of sun. It was just too much for them. They didn't burn, but you just didn't look good, yellowish, and you can tell it just pushed too hard. Okay. This one I brought in is not in bloom yet. Oh, what are the flaws? If there's a flaw to the Satsuki azaleas, most azaleas, they bloom and then they grow. So all the flowers are on top. Satsukis, because they bloom so late, they still grow at the same time. Always new growth coming out, so they grow and then they bloom. So you do share airspace with the flowers, but it's still a very beautiful bloom, but it's not quite looking like this. You don't see the plant for the flowers, you know. I think in Japan, some of the bonsai shows, they'll actually strip off the new growth to expose the flowers for shows and stuff. You know, where they, so the bud is on the tip, and they'll take off some of the new growth, you know. Anyway, this one here is called Kimimaru. It's a real light, got almost a buff, almost a salmony buff, real light blush buff. Very pretty, soft pink. Wonderful azalea, not a very big flower, but just a really pretty color. This is a solid color, it's not a multicolor, but a real pretty plant. Then three more sets. This one's just starting, it's on the early side for a satsuki. This is called kagetsu. And it's multicolored, it'll be white with stripes. You get some solid colors on it. The number 2 you don't see, I don't think this does a number 2, this is just bicolor. Some satsukis don't do a third color, but this is going to be white with stripes. And you get this nice, it'll be a nice kind of lavender, but it'll be a pale center on the lavender. Yeah. Anyway, kogetsu.
Is that sort of double coloring normal for an azalea?
A lot of them are, yes. This one they are normal. Most azaleas, it's a solid color, you know. On your Western azaleas, most of them, a lot of them were developed in Europe. A lot of them are called Belgian hybrids. England, Belgium and Holland did a lot of hybridization years ago. We will catch mutations on those, but it's, you know, you don't catch a lot of mutations. They're pretty stable. These guys are all over the place, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
But it's a headache when you go to propagate because you get, you know, I would say, we tell people buy one of these, not in bloom, we have better odds in Las Vegas, okay? But you know, if our cuttings come off of this branch here, it's not what you wanted if you wanted the white with the stripe, you know. This one, in fact, I think the purple one, this one is called Gecko. It's actually been named.
Is that a 3-year-old?
Yeah, this is about a 3-year-old. Purely 3, yeah, this is going on, yeah. These, when we don't sell in this size, we have to can them, they're ready to move up. And then these will make, by fall, there'll be a nice 5-gallon, not a giant 5, but a nice, decent 5-gallon. Well, then this one I brought along, this one here is called Shiryu no Homari. First time I saw this one, I was gonna spray it for something, because look at the kernel leaves. This wasn't how at first sight, and I had, what's wrong with this, you know? The Japanese call these rimpu azaleas. I have no idea if rimpu means kernel leaf or dragon's tongue or whatever. But interesting kernel leaf. We got about 3 or 4 of these rimpu azaleas. This is my favorite. And a landscape lady pointed out to me what she liked about it. You can see the bottom of the leaf and the top of the leaf at the same time. And the bottom of the leaf is light green, the top of the leaf is dark green. This is one of our latest azaleas to bloom. It's a satsuki. It's late, but it's later than most satsuki. It may start late May, June, and we can creep into July. It's an intense purple. Some of the flowers are complete, and some are split petals, where the petals are actually separate, as opposed to most azaleas. Your flowers are fused into one unit. There's 5 petals, but they're all one unit. Well, these will have separate petals. It has a little bit of flush in the fall, but a gorgeous plant. And it's kind of a little interesting side that we get on azaleas. It's a decent size pearl. We haven't used this one yet. This one isn't kernel yet. We get on azaleas a leaf roller moth. It's not going to kill the plant, but it's not very aesthetic because the worm, the little moth lays its egg, the caterpillar chews the leaf, and it makes its cocoon by curling over the leaf like this. And you know, it's not going to kill the plant, but they're just kind of unsightly. We thought, boy, they're going to just love this. All they got to do is crawl in. Guess what? They don't touch this because the leaf is curled the wrong way. They cannot bend this leaf back the way they want to. So this is leaf roller moth proof azalea, okay?
That's on defense system.
Yeah. Anyway, one more, 2 more azaleas. This we have brought this in because it just makes a beefy trunk in a hurry. I know you guys like the big trunks and stuff. It's called Minato. It's one of the few, most Atsukis are single. This is a semi-double. It's an extra row of petals. It's a light lavender, and it has a pale center, but it's a semi-double. This one with pride in the full sun, and this one you can get away with in the full sun. And it has a secondary fall member. Wonderful azalea, but look, as a young plant, it's got a pretty hefty trunk. See, very up there, nice enough, you know. Then I brought this one along. This one, I'm pretty sure this might be a Taiwanese azalea, I'm not positive. There's an island called, this is called Senkaku Tsuji, which means the azalea from Senkaku. I think Senkaku is an island off of Japan or close to further on down by Taiwan. I'm not sure exactly the origin, but look how it cascades. Really a pretty plant. It just goes over the side. So if you get it up to high enough and have it cascade, it might be just wonderful. Very translucent. Most azaleas, light comes through, but this one exceptionally so it gets the sunlight behind it. We had some hanging baskets several years ago with this one here. And the guy when the sun was behind it, they just like they were plugged in. So very translucent azalea. Some let me see if I got, if I go to the camellias, I got all these azaleas. Okay, camellias are pretty much up. You're at their last gasp right now. Actually, we're having more late flowers this year because we have, this is in church.
Okay, when is the best time to prune them? Okay,
Okay, pruning azaleas, we do our pruning basically when they're through blooming, you know, when the new growth comes out. You know, here's a nice plant here. In fact, there was one branch that was even longer than this. I knocked it off because it just looked too goofy. You know, and you guys prune for different reasons. We're pruning for just a nice shape. I would take that off. I would take this off here. You can do that any time of year. If I take this off though, right now, I'm knocking a bud off on this thing. I think there's a bud on there. But basically what we're going to be pruning for the most part is after they're through blooming, all the new growth comes out, and that's what we're going to be shaping. Now, Satsuki, because they bloom so late, we still prune them, sometimes even before they bloom. But keep in mind that anything you prune now, April, May, June, even in the first part of July, you cut them, they will branch out, which means you're going to get more branches in a bushier plant. And you'll get more flowers because instead of one branch with a bud, now you got 3 or 4 branches, all with buds. So you actually make more budding surface by pruning. Anything you prune late, August, September, and we do that. There's a nice plant, boom, boom. It look better without those 2 branches. But anything that will grow from that stub having been pruned will not set buds, so it's too late to set buds. So heavy pruning, pruning June, but May, June, good time to prune. And then you can do what we call spiking. It's a nice plant, you got 5 wild branches. Okay, you knock off a bud, so what? Knock it off and it'll branch out where you cut them. So you can prune them year round like hurting the plant, but keep in mind that anything you prune late won't have time to set buds. So.
Before the dormancy period, right? That's before the dormancy period.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But what happens, azaleas start to set their buds, you miss summer on to the fall, you know, and of course they'll stop growing by about September, October. They're shutting down for the winter. Mm-hmm. And the buds they've got. They don't have buds, but they ain't gonna get buds. Of course, with camellias as well. And so anyway, so we'll go through, even in the wintertime, you got a nice plant, and here's a big spike, and it's got buds, so what? Now, we know some ladies that do a lot of flower arranging, and they'll purposely not prune in May and June, so they get these nice long spikes to work with. They'll prune them in bloom, just to take their floral stuff, so they want the long naked stems. Some azaleas don't look bad if they're let go and not pruned too tight. You get this nice woodsy wild, you know. You want a nice full look, then you prune. If you have this nice woodsy wild look, what happens with azaleas, they'll grow, set a bud, and then in the wintertime they'll drop some of their leaves, so you end up with this long naked stem, you know. But on some azaleas it doesn't look too bad, they'll go kind of natural. And if it's too wild, then you can knock it back, you know. And you can even cut on the hard wood too. I mean, if you cut that there, it'll branch out there, you know. And you don't have to care where you cut. Azaleas technically branch out where there is a leaf, but the leaves are so close together, how can you possibly miss where there is a leaf? Even here that the leaves are gone, those growth stars are still there. If you cut it there, it'll multiple branch there.
Seriously, it does backbud really well.
Pardon me?
It backbuds really well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry.
Backbud, you can cut as hard as you want.
Oh, yeah, well, to an extent. I've seen some azaleas prune to nothing. And sometimes they don't come back. If you wanted to just really drastically chop an azalea to, real hard back, I would do it in stages, take a couple of branches, wait till they leaf out, then do a couple other stages. Yeah, I wouldn't denude the ball foliage in one shot, we had to cut it hard. Camellias are, you can take an old camellia, a little more forgiving. If you see this big giant camellia, you just want to knock it down, so over the top of the roof, and you want to make it go into the window, yeah, you can cut it down to nothing. It's got two choices, drop dead or come back stronger than that. And typically, if it's a healthy plant, they'll just flush out like mad,
Cut it down to nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna go on to the committees, but if you want to ask some of your questions now or later on, that's okay.
So when you fertilize right after they're through blooming?
Yeah, basically you're doing it when the spring growth comes out. We do a light winter phase to keep it green, but basically we tell most customers, start anytime now this time of year, and then go if you're using a dry fertilizer every other month. If you use a liquid, you can go a little more. We tell people every other month during the growing season, so that's spring, early summer, and then late summer, early fall. And one lady said she fed Easter, 4th of July, and Labor Day, and that's just about right. Nice to remember. Wait,
What kind of soils do you use?
well, on azaleas, we're using just perlite and peat moss. On camellias, we use perlite, peat moss, and a little bit of sand. We used to get on camellias, we used to get some nice sandy loam. We've had trouble, Devil's Gate Dam used to have some good guys digging sandy loam out of there. It was beautiful stuff. City of Pasadena, keep those guys out of there, and now we gotta go dig it up ourselves. Anyway, that's another story, but anyway, it was beautiful stuff, but we tried different sources of sandy loam, and we were getting clay, garbage, you just couldn't get good stuff. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that's got it, we should haven't found it. I kinda like sandy loam as opposed to sand. Sand is baby rocks, sandy loam is dirt, I'll add a little bit of dirt in the community,
What about root pruning?
We don't do any root pruning. Certainly, put it this way, we've got some old azaleas in the back that are just too long in the can. Like basically, they just hang around forever. Like, I want to keep them. They don't look good. I wouldn't take it down there. They're embarrassing. The best medicine was to take them out of the can, shake off the old stuff off the root ball, and maybe I would do a little tearing up of the roots just to tuck it back in the same can. And some of those old ones that have been too long in the can, sometimes the roots have deteriorated. And I'm not gonna put it in a big can, I'll go a smaller can, just downsize it. But you can do a root pruning. Azaleas are pretty forgiving. If you took a serrated bread knife and just sawed the bottom third of this can, it's not gonna wilt a leaf. Camellias are not quite as forgiving as azaleas are. And someone brought in a camellia that was just, there you go. I just think that camellia we got something that looks worse than his. You take them out of the can, shake off the old stuff, put fresh dirt, best thing, and if you have to do a little occasional bit of root pruning, but basically that one just gonna, I bet you all the old stuff's gonna fall off, and you'll be able to put some fresh soil around it, and it'll go, wow, effects, this is what I need,
So like, in Bonsai we use pots.
Yeah,
So we use a deeper pot.
certainly on camellias, yes, certainly on camellias I would do when they're dormant, they're starting to grow out now, this wouldn't be the best time to do that. I would wait till they're, it's kind of goofy, when they're in bloom is when they're dormant,
And you prefer a thicker pot, a wider,
Yeah,
deeper pot?
yeah, for example, this guy here, if you were to do this one here, you want to go a tiny pot, I would maybe slip it back a little bit, just to reduce, you don't want to cut, you don't want to have a 70% bottom and 100% top, so balance it off. I would do it in the winter time, when they're dormant, and you could grow a shallow pot on this too. Then too, sometimes you take a camellia, you take out the container, it's a slight drop, boom, and it'll just jar the loose stuff off. You can tell exactly what you've got to prune and work with. But anyway, as long as they got this one up over here. Yeah, there's probably about, depending on the botanist you talk to, some 200 plus, close to 300 wild camellias. We're still discovering more, which is kind of exciting. All camellias are from Asia. There are no New World camellias. In the United States, we've got some camellia relatives, but not camellia camellias. They're all from Asia. And if you don't know where camellia is from, if you say China, most of the time you're gonna be right. There's some big flowered wild forms, there's some tiny flowered wild forms. This one, I'm pretty sure this one is from Taiwan. And this is called Trans-Airy Sinensis, mouthful. And little tiny flower, don't get a little bigger than this, but little tiny flower, kind of upright, nice lacy growth habit. There's one called Trans NUCCIO, which is ornamentally, I like it better because it's a little bigger flower. And the bud on Trans NUCCIO is kind of reddish, so you got these, but it's half in bloom and half in flower. You got these little red dots mixed in with the white flowers. This has kind of a pinky bud, but it's a tinier flower to a tinier leaf, a Trans-Airy Sinensis. And we've not done great with it on the sole root. We graft them. It's probably not an ideal thing for bonsai. You'd probably like to see a nice trunk that's the same plant, not a graft, but this is obviously a grafted plant here. But if you can ignore the trunk, look at the plant, I think it's a nice plant. One that I brought over here too, this one here, really common sasanqua. It's called Shishikashira. If you ever get a chance to go to Japan, they use Shishikashira and Kanjuro like we use oleanders. Kanjuro is upright, rose red. This is low, tight growing lateral. And it's a nice double flower, and it's kind of a rosy red or deep pink. If you want it pink, then it's a deep pink. If you want it red, it's a light red. It's one of those kind of red. But it takes the sun beautifully, very lateral growth habit. You can get this looking like an azalea by pruning it tight. You can let it grow kind of natural, a little bit loose if you want to also. But wonderful, wonderful camellia, and just nice, tight and compact. And the flower is very proportionate to the leaves. A nurseman up in Hayward years ago, I told you about Motors Nursery. He had a seedling of this, and it came really dwarf. We call it dwarf shishi. It's kind of like a burgundy or magenta red. Just really, and that's a real dwarf. This is just a nice, tight, compact plant. But they're both would be good, I think, for bonsai culture. But anyway, Shishikashira. Oh, my first trip to Japan, I went on a tour, and went to the Imperial Palace. And there was the heads of these, not in bloom. I was impressed with these not in bloom. So in bloom, they had to be incredible. And I was just dying to get on my hands and knees to see how close they put these things together. But I was on a tour, so I bet they just jammed them in. But from here to the wall, there was not one leaf out of place, about this high, and I knew exactly what it was. And I was impressed, not in bloom. So in bloom, it had to be absolutely incredible. Anyway, Shishikashira, wonderful camellia.
Tom, can I ask you a question? That plant on the ground, the Shishikashira on the ground, how long would it take to reach about 6, 7?
Oh, it's gotta be an old plant. A friend of ours has one that's about 4 foot high, and it's been there for 30 years.
15 years, okay.
Yeah, it wants to be low and lateral. It can be kept about 2 to 3 foot if you want it to keep it at that height. I have seen them get bigger, but it's gotta be an old plant to do it. Yeah, take a long time. There's a lot of others that are more upright, like Kanjuro. It just grows that way. It'll get up there in no time. 6 foot, no problem. It's 6 foot to 8 foot, in fact. It's about the same color as that one there. Well, one of the camellias you see used in bonsai in Japan are what they call higo camellias. I brought a couple. There's the tail end of the higos. The higos have, they're famous for they're pretty tired flowers. They're famous for their flared stamens. Most camellias have a column of stamens. The higos have a flare of stamens. This one's called tancho. Really pretty camellia. And the buds, I should have brought a bud. Well, here's a bud here. The buds, most of these look like buds on camellias look like footballs. These look like marbles. See how kind of round they are? Very round and bud. But anyway, the story on these, in what was the city of Higo, it's now Kumamoto, this is on Kyushu. And samurai collected these camellias. They collected some peonies, iris, some sasanqua camellias, some japonica camellias. There was another, might have been iris, but they're all famous for big, flat-faced, bold-looking flowers. And the story is that this flare of stamens, especially the bullheart, is sad. Good story. I'm not sure it's true, but it's a good story. But anyway, Tancho, this one here is Okan. Not a very, this is a pretty tight flower. But you get the idea, though, where it's got a white center and a border. This is an Okan plant right here, so this is like around this window. But anyway, in Japan, you'll use the bonsai, but what they do, they have the luxury of having these 300-year-old camellias out in the woods. They'll go and dig out some of these gnarly roots and they'll sever them from the parent plant. I may be messing up the secrets how they do this, but they soak it about a week in water, they wrap it and stuff, but anyway, you'll get these things to re-root themselves. So now, you've got an instant bonsai trunk, and they'll graft these onto that really gnarly, twisted trunk, and they did nothing to make that twist, they just dug it out of the ground. And they'll graft onto that one of these hego trees, and some of these hegos tend to be roundish, so they would lend themselves nicely to this big gnarly trunk and this nice roundish habit to it. And they're very short flowers. They fall off in one piece, but very pretty plum blossom style flowers. So anyway, Higo, H-I-G was the type, and this particular one is Okan, this is Tom NUCCIO. What's kind of interesting, let's pass this Tom NUCCIO around because take a look at the stamens. The color of the stamens of these are white, but the part that corresponds to the stripe is pink.
Oh,
Cool?
Do you feed azaleas the same way your camellias?
I'm sorry.
Do you feed,
Yeah, same feeding system, time because it's the growing time.
out of the same kind of fertilizer?
Yeah, basically, yeah. You know, we don't always use this, we use some liquids, we use some raw power sometimes. I'm very partial to cottonseed meal, because it's slow breaking down, lasts a long time. You don't get cottonseed lacks as iron, there's no iron in cottonseed. So you want to supplement, at least on, especially on azaleas, some kind of iron.
But you don't use acidifiers, or
Pardon me?
you don't have to use acidifiers?
No, we don't, no, we think the pH most is acid enough, you know, we should be more conscious of pH and we're not, but as long as it looks good, you know. So,
So good water.
Yeah, it helps. We have pretty water, we have a local water company, Altadena has, Altadena has 3 water companies. Because they were founded in 1890, somebody claimed the water rights to this canyon, the next guy claimed the water rights to that canyon, and today there's still 3 water companies in Altadena. And we get some local mountain water, we get some wells, they do the supplement with Metropolitan, which would be a mix of stuff. You know, the Metropolitan water, at least for us, has gotten better than it used to be because I think Arizona wanted the Colorado River water. They got the water rights back. They fought for that, and we're getting more Northern California water as opposed to Colorado River water is the problem. It's high in sodium and salt. And years ago, when we had a lot of Colorado River water, there was a few azalea varieties we could not grow. You just couldn't because they burned. We knew exactly. Well, by the way, the azalea looked is what was wrong with the water, you know. But I'm getting more local water now. JPL used to go dump some rocket fuel in the Arroyo, back when it was legal to do it, you know. But anyway, they couldn't pump those wells for a long time, they got a way to clean that up and stuff. So we're getting good local water, and the metropolitan water, I don't think it's as high in Colorado. They get more Feather River or California. So anyway.
Do you have water softeners, or do you have hard water or soft water?
Yeah, our water is probably, I don't know,
But you don't have any water
it's probably somewhat alkali, it's not acidic, you know.
Okay.
But it's not horrible water. Our water is not horrible.
So you don't have a lot of calcium buildup on your pots, or?
No, we're pretty good that way.
Yeah, because I live in South Pasadena and it's terrible. Like,
Really?
there's so much calcium buildup.
Yeah.
So I was thinking-
I would have thought that South Pass had pretty good water.
Oh no, I mean, it's good water. It's just the buildup of minerals is kind of.
Yeah, and a
high.
good flushing out rain's always nice. It's
Yeah,
been a
they-
great year for that, you know.
This year.
Anyway, well, this one here, I brought this one along because it's a mix of beautiful camellia. It's called Yume. And what's interesting about this, there are 2 types of variegation in camellias. One is genetic, which is stripes or bars, and one is virus, which you see red blotches on a red camellia. That's actually a virus. Where the original virus came from, I don't know if anybody knows, but the way we do it on purpose, we get a nice, good new red camellia. We'll purposely graft it onto a rootstock. Then we know it to be a good form of virus, hopefully to introduce the white into the flowers. So we make 2 camellias out of one. Like there's one called Glen Forty, so we also have Glen Forty variant. the Viju Waterhouse, it's pink, we have Viju Waterhouse, variegated, which is pink and white, you know. But anyway, this was a cross that was done in Japan, and one of the parents was Shishigashira. The other parent was a Chinese wild camellia called Yushinitsus, a stiff and upright, narrow petals. And the guy got this cross, and there's no way he could have predicted what he would have got. This is a natural variegation, but it's not stripes or borders, and it's not virus. Sometimes every other petal will alternate. White petal, pink petal, white petal, pink petal. Generally across the plant, it's about 50% pink and white, and it's genetic variegation. It sets a lot of seed. If you ever guess this, I kind of recommend you plant the seeds. The seeds won't ripen until the fall. Little crack and split, crack open about October. The seeds, camellia seeds are real easy to grow. They have a short shelf life, so you pick them and plant them. Don't store them for 3 months to do it. But anyway, you pick them and plant them, but the following fall you'll plant about this big, you know. And then you can pot them up wherever you want to do it. Camellia seeds make a taproot. If you're going to grow the camellia in a container, just stick the tip of the taproot so it branches out. But anyway, wonderful lateral growth habit. And just a beautiful camellia. The seedlings, you get a lot of lookalikes to Yumi. You get a lot of pink and whites, you get a lot of whites. So far, it has been better than Yumi, but they're all pretty good, the seedlings. But Yumi's a wonderful camellia. I think you'll enjoy it. A nice lateral growth habit, and just pink and white evenly across the plant. Anyway,
And that new growth is a golden.
no, this is new growth. This is
Golden.
Yeah, this is brand new. This one here is a dwarf. We call this tiny gem. A few flowers on it. Really compact plant. It's just a chance seedling that we caught. We think it might be related to a camellia called Paternum, which is kind of wispy growth habit. It doesn't grow at all like this. And this one just happened to be super compact, but nice little tiny bells and nice bronzy foliage. But this is a real tight, compact,
What's that called?
tiny gem.
How's the sun on that? Is that like,
You know, we haven't tried this in a lot of sun. I don't know how it take. I think we probably need some shakers.
so early morning sun? Early
Oh,
morning sun?
morning sun's fine. We consider morning sun 11 o'clock. You know,
Yeah.
no, that's a shade condition.
If you were to find one in the landscape and you wanted to collect it, what advice do you have?
To dig it out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do it when they're grown. You know, we're getting a little late. I mean, if the bulldozers are coming tomorrow, you gotta dig it up, go for it.
Sure, right.
But no, if you had your choice, yeah, I would say, say November on to till about late February, early March. You wanna do it before they grow, and try to get as much of the roots as you can. You're not gonna get them all, so prune it back accordingly, like you got, like I said, you don't wanna have 100% top and 60% bottom. But yes, it's worth a try. And, you know, we tell people, you know, it takes 4 years to make a 4-year-old camellia, so you can save a 4-year-old camellia by doing it. Where you know, you got a hit and miss, up to 50%.
What about aftercare? Aftercare, would you be listing it after collection?
Oh, you know, yeah, good question. I've never done much of this, so you're talking to the wrong person after. But I would certainly don't kill it with kindness, don't feed it. Water acid needs it. If you want to mist it, just wash it down once in a while, just for, especially on a hot day or so, just to keep it from having to try to suck up a lot of water. You know, but yeah, I would try to, but I wouldn't baby it. Wash your fingers. Vitamin B1, I don't know if it works or not. Some people swear by it. I don't know if it's a sugar-coated pill or if it actually works. But yeah, but you want to do it in the wintertime. You know, misting it or washing it down with some would be good. But I wouldn't baby it. You know, just wash your fingers and hope for the best. But it's worth a try. Yeah. This one's a neat camellia. It's also kind of lateral growing. It had a flower that fell off. There it is. Okay, pretty sad. Well, it was prettier a couple weeks ago, last week. But it's a simple pink flower, light pink flower. It's called Holland Orchid. I like it because it's a very narrow leaf pattern, and it has a nice lateral growth habit. Very pretty and just very profuse. The background on these is Japonica, which is your regular camellia, and Salvianensis, which is the Chinese high species. And there was some crosses done in the late 1950s. The first ones that came out in the late 1950s were out of England, and they kind of coined them with the name TION names: flirtation, donation, anticipation, contemplation. If you bought a camellia that had a TION name on it, you knew it was a Saluensis japonica hybrid. Some are very wild, some are compact growing. This one tends to be on the compact side. Some are long, some are more just spring bloom, but they're all profuse. And they bud up as young plants. And most camellias in 1 gallon can, I say about a third of our 1 gallon cans will have buds on them, the japonicas. These guys will bud up in a 4-inch pot sometimes. And they'll bud up in areas that are maybe too dark for camellias. You get to a point where you're too dark for camellias in those areas. Well, if you put one of these in there and it doesn't bud up, it's too dark for a camellia period. So these are the real tests for too dark. But wonderful growth habit on this, which is a nice plant. And just tons of flowers, very quick, hollow note. This is probably my favorite small flowered camellia. This is called Hishikari-hito. And these flowers here are just at the end of the season. They're not quite, well, this one's showing here. It's a semi-double pink with a white tuft in the middle. Very, very pretty. Good looking plant. It's a nice, tight, compact plant. Just nice bushy. You can keep this, you keep it nice at 4 foot if you wanted to. If you had a window situation, you could control the height of this one beautifully. But I think this is one of the better looking plants in camellias. This one's a stock plant, but I got one for your raffle over here, so it's in a gallon, but just a good camellia. And I think it'd make a nice topic for bonsai.
Tom, I'm pruning the camellias. Is it right after they bloom also?
Yeah, you know what, ideally, yes, two thoughts on camellia bloom. Have this, see, the starting to grow now. And I come back here and I cut it back here and I cut it back here and I cut it here. Sometimes it takes these back buds a little while to figure the top's been cut off. Had I done this, say, a month ago, they would have been pushing out growth already from back here. But I would have knocked off the flower. So it's more important to do the flowers, wait till the third bloom. It was more important to get maximum growth, do it right before the growth comes out, season 10 in February. And then, of course, you need to put out 2 cycles of growth. The cycle we see, you're starting to push out now, will become mature, stop growing about late June. You take a breather and you put out a second cycle of growth. And so between those 2 cycles of growth, if you got some wild branches, after the first cycle, you can prune those and they'll branch out again. It's your new growth, both the first cycle and the second cycle, that's your bud wood. So they bud up on the new wood. So, but even if you cut back some of the new growth, the first cycle of growth, so it does another branching, sure.
Speaking of cuttings, if you took a cuttings, what would you recommend rooting it in?
You know, we use just peat moss and perlite, real simple. We have a mist system that goes on periodically on a small scale. You can take a little gallon can, put your cuttings in there. You can put 10 cuttings in a gallon can, put a mason jar over it, or a baggie.
Yeah.
If you use a baggie, use a wire frame so it doesn't lay on top of it. 2 things go wrong with cuttings: rotting out and drying out. You know, our favorite way to kill them is drying out. I mean, rotting out rather. We kill them rot more than we dry them out. Your best cutting, you could use it. If someone gave you a rare plant, you could use it. Your best cutting would go. All this new growth is pushing out now. When that becomes firm, it doesn't have to be brown. It can be green going to brown. That's my favorite cutting. It's usually late May, June. Beautiful cutting. And if you had a rare plant, all you need, they root at the cut. You don't need a node or anything. And if this was the rarest plant in the world, you could make a cutting with just one leaf cuttings. We normally leave a cutting about 2 or 3 leaves, and we'll cut the bigger leaves, cut them in half, just because it makes more room in the cutting flat. You don't have to do that. But yeah, they're pretty easy to root. It takes about 90 days for camellias. It takes azaleas about 60 days.
So you don't use any root tone?
Oh no, we've tried root tone, and we don't see the difference. The ones that are hard to root were hard to root, and the ones that are easy to root were easy to root. So I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, but we didn't see any difference. With one exception, we did some tests one time, and a few of the ones, not all of them, a few of the ones that had the root hormone had a little nicer root ball. Coincidence, or the hormone really did something, but just nice, good, fresh cuttings. We don't feel it does us much good.
Why, Mel? Just go NUCCIO. Just buy what you want.
I like that too. This one's a wonderful camellia. This is a wild flower. Tiny white flower. All the flowers kind of hang down. You gotta lay on your back to see the flowers. But it's called salicifolia. And as this gets mature, the Hunter Library has one that's got a trunk like about the size of a baseball bat. To me, the trunk's very pretty, a very nice bark. But it has kind of a webbing, it has a real, like a, almost like a lizard's belly look to the webbing. You see it more on a mature plant. The real lacy, the new growth is nice and bronzy, and the name means willow leaf in Latin, salicifolia. So it's well named. They're really pretty camellia. Just nice, pretty plant, and just a nice tiny flower. Another one I brought along. This one, look at the new growth of this.
Wow.
This is called Camellia assimilis. Really lacy, and it keeps this new growth like this all summer long. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah. The flower, I found a couple of flowers still left on another plant. Tiny little flowers. These are probably a little undersized. But take a look at the pink stamen shaft. The stamens are kind of, the shaft and stamens is kind of fused together. And I'm guessing, no botanist told me this, the name assimilis, because they're assimilated, they're all bunched together. That's what I'm guessing the name came from. But take a look at this, but it's a little pretty flower. That's it.
Hey Tom, can you talk about your display tables up there? How, what you do?
Oh, yeah, what we do, when things are in bloom, we'll put the flowers out on the display table, just to give you, you can look at a bunch of varieties, having to walk all over the place, you know. But these are best salesmen too, by the way, so. But yeah, we have display tables of azaleas and camellias. Later on, we have satsukis. Sometimes I'll just put a display table, put it in a plant in bloom also, of various varieties. But yeah, we try to put some flowers out every weekend for people to see, without having to walk around, you know.
It's kind of small.
Okay, we're getting there. Oh, let's see, let me see if I got here. Oh, aha, these two there for sure. Here.
So,
These we just got through pruning, they looked a little more open before. Look at the contorted growth habit on these. Isn't that cool? Yeah, this was called a Egal corkscrew. This was called Unryu. They both have the zigzag pattern. This one's rather upright. And this one, the flower is a nice single kind of rosy red flower. The flower is just nice in proportion. This one, the flower is a little bit big. It's a flower about this big, and it's a pink semi-dome, you know, a loose peony form. This is a mutation off of one called Egal. Egal is a real strong grower. And we didn't catch the mutation. One branch came cockeyed, but we propagated it by mistake. My brother was going through the Egals to separate it from canning, to move them up. And came across this one that had a little roofy corkscrew, and we were able to propagate it, and it grows completely different from the parent plant. It's lateral growing. Somebody's got an Egal that they bought from us. It's got a roofy branch on it. We didn't catch the sport. We propagated it by mistake. But deep lateral plant. And I even see on this one, some of the branches do a U-turn and go back the other way. You know, but kind of really neat for bonsai. The flower's a little bit big.
Yeah, it looks like it's been wired.
This one's more upright.
It does.
Kind of interesting on this one. One year I kept the seeds separately. When I wanted to see how many would come zigzag, and I made a ton of seeds, maybe a couple hundred seeds. A few of them came really zigzag. A few of them just barely zigzag. Most of them could have used for arrow shots. Just grew straight as well. So it's genetic, but not strongly so. But anyway, Uriu, which I'm told means dragon, and then Gao corkscrew, which means corkscrew. Anyway. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this.
And are those shade loving?
Yeah, you know, Uriu, yes. This one here, the parent plant, Igao. This we got from Japan. The parent plant we got from Japan as a sasanqua. The guy that got it from, he said, you know, we think this is a hybrid, but we grow it like a sasanqua. We grow it in the full sun, the parent plant. And I'm sure this one too, you could grow it in a lot of sun just because of where it comes from. Okay. Another sasanqua. This is tan, old variety, but a very simple flower. It's 5 petals, pink, single flower, but real lacy growth habit. It's kind of a low growing. Tan is better with a little bit of shade. You can grow it in full sun, but a little shade appreciates it. But just real lacy. And your sasanquas are fall blooming. They hit their peak November, December, very early. But just a nice lateral plant and just a very pretty flower. Very simple.
Kind of small flower?
Yeah, well, it's about this big. It's about this big.
Oh,
You know,
it's
it's not
good
tiny flower. No, it would be tiny, but it's a small flower. Yes. And this one here, this is another wild form, this is called Camellia petardii, a variety petardii. Really compact plant. And then the bud's kind of pink, the bud's pink, opens up to kind of a light pink or whitish pink. It's very profuse, and just very compact, and just very lateral. But everything's in proportion nice on this one. Petardii, variety petardii.
Are those seeds starting?
These are seeds started, yeah.
Oh.
This one here, I don't know what's going on. Usually when we take seeds of wild camellias, especially if they're self-pollinated, they come pretty true from the seed. One will be a little bigger, one will be smaller, but they'll all look the same. This one I think has to hybridize free with japonica. We're getting some unusual, I want to call them lavenders, but they're very bluish pinks. They're almost not Camellia colors off of this one. And it's giving us some really interesting colors. I don't know what the combination is doing, but just by collecting the seeds that are on here. And then the final one I brought, but we didn't have any smaller than this one for the raffle, or this is a stock plant. It's a japonica, but it's called Kujako Tsubaki, which means peacock camellia. And everything about it, look, elongated leaf. When it sets a flower bud, the flower bud's elongated. The petals are elongated. It's a single flower. This happens to be a very good red and white one. But it's just really nice and drippy, and nice to get this to the height you want, just let it kind of cascade all over. So it might be wonderful for a bigger type of bonsai as a step, but they're really interesting plant. And then if it sets a seed pod, the seed pod's elongated. Most seed pods are round. But really interesting plant. Look how it just kind of just drips all over like this. And Kujako Tsubaki.
Do you grow types of green tea camellias?
We do. Well, the Camellia sinensis, not everybody knows this, but the tea you drink as tea is a camellia. And it's Camellia sinensis, little tiny white flower. It's kind of fun. I give a few talks like this in the fall, and I'll bring this Camellia sinensis, and they say with this little tiny white flower, this is the most widely grown camellia in the world. Come on, it's your tea plant. What you use, of course, is the new growth, never growth. Our experience with tea, we got some tea plants, now probably was in Monrovia, which was 30, 40 years ago. And the first batch of Camellia sinensis that we had, you couldn't make tea out of it. All the new growth was just beautiful. But by midsummer, every single leaf was burnt. And they repeat the cycle every year. And so we tried different fertilizer, we tried no fertilizer, we tried different tests, they were soil, it just didn't like us. So what we did, we collected the seeds off of it. Then we selected seedlings that didn't burn as badly. I'm not saying they're burn proof, but what we were growing is 1989, number 3, that's the one we grow the most of. We have one 2010, number 1, a little darker foliage, a little more compact plant. And then we have 89, number 5, we call moundy, which is just the growth habits more moundy. But those are the ones we grow, and they've done fairly well for us. We did get some burn, but I think it's the lack of humidity that we have, more than anything. But those have done better than the parent plant. And then we've gotten some, through the years, we've gotten some cultivars from Japan. And they did the same thing, just terrible. They just didn't like us, you know. But we can grow it. And we don't recommend you grow it like they do in Asia in the full sun, because treat it like a regular japonica, semi-shade. And you know, it makes a nice medium-sized camellia. You can keep it at 4 to 6 foot, not very comfortably. And if you're taking tea, you don't want it up on a ladder anyway, so you want to keep it low too. So, you know, I think, well, what I brought, I think I've talked about everything that I brought. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask you. Please.
For the soil, what ratio do you use, if you don't mind me asking?
You know, on azaleas, we use peat moss, and I say we use about maybe 25% perlite to that, you know. And the camellias we use more peat than sand, but I say probably we're 60-65% peat, maybe 25%, whatever, 20% sand, and then the rest the perlite. So more, a little heavier on the peat. If you didn't put the perlite, then it'd be a 60-40 mix, something like that.
For the camellias?
Yeah, a little heavier mix. Any other questions?
I had a question about that red one again, the red leaf one.
Yeah.
You said that goes into the summer? The leaves stay red like that through the summer?
Yeah, through the summer, the new growth stays that way.
Well, when does it green up then?
Well, it greens it towards the fall, but it always has a little bit of tint there, but here's a nice green leaf here. And towards the end of summer, when it starts to green up. But there's always a few kind of bronzy leaves on it. But it's pretty plant, almost Rhabdolepsis or whatever, well, yeah.
So when you talk about the ones that they want some shade, you were saying like we're avoiding peak heat, peak after the sun, that sort of thing?
Yeah, basically, shaders that your shade communities, you can take some full sun, but not all day. You wanna avoid that real blazy hours on in, midday, hot afternoon sun, yeah. What we feel is the shade condition, morning sun till 11 o'clock noon, you know, and then filter sun throughout the day is ideal, but who has that, you know? But the west side or south side, there should be some protection. Any other questions? It was fun, thank you very much. I have to leave a little, I usually like to stick around for the raffle and stuff and questions, but I've got to leave a little early tonight, just because there's another meeting around the corner, community meeting, and we're honoring two really good old friends and customers that are gonna, you know, they started as customers to become friends, you know, they're gonna be moving out of state. So they're honoring them tonight, so I wanted to catch that to say goodbye to them and stuff. So I'm gonna be a little rude and leave early, but thank you so much for
Any
having me.
questions, anybody?